I do want to talk about the GOP and specifically them involved in this near shutdown, the shutdown that didn't happen. But one of the major reasons it almost did was Republican infighting between further right Republicans like Congressman Matt Gaetz and more moderate Republicans like House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. So, as you know, we were on the brink of a shutdown. I don't need to explain the dire economic consequences that could have happened if it did in fact happen. But how do you bring cohesion to your party? Because it seems very fractured at this moment, especially in the House.
Well, I think part of this is, we're in a position where we've got barely a majority in the House. We do not have a majority in the Senate. If we want to actually cut spending, it's going to take leadership in the White House. We're going to have to take the Senate back. And then we don't have to have government shutdowns. We can show America the Republicans actually know how to lead, that we know how to actually cut spending. And we can cut spending without reducing services. Everybody thinks that cutting spending is the end of the world. Like I said, in North Dakota, we cut spending and we didn't affect services because there's so much waste in how government approaches the private sector. It's why we need a private sector leader like myself in the White House. You have to have someone who's actually created jobs, who understands, someone who's balanced budgets, someone who's actually cut their budget when they were a governor, not just increased it, less quickly. We've actually cut budgets, and that's what America needs right now. And when we do that, these shutdowns, the average American, they're out there trying to, make ends meet, and it's not helpful. The Republican Party may think they're winning or losing, but basically all of Americans don't trust Congress anymore because they think it's not functional. The brinkmanship associated with government shutdowns is not helpful, and there is a cost to government shutdowns if it actually happens. But even when there's a threat of one, I know the federal agencies in North Dakota the past 3 weeks have all been not spending their time serving citizens. They've been spending their time working on contingency plans. What are we going to do if our offices are shut? And so we waste taxpayers' money with this brinksmanship, and we just got to get back in the leadership position, show Americans a way, get inflation under control, cut the spending, and drive forward. It's all possible and it's all doable, but we have to have a fresh start in Washington. We can't have someone from inside the swamp who spent their career in Washington be the person that fixes it. It's got to be somebody from the outside.
I'm hearing you use terms and phrases like not functional, brinksmanship. So I'm curious, do you think House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is an effective speaker, an effective leader?
Well, one thing I've learned as governor is that the legislative branch, Americans don't get to vote on who the leader is. That's for that body themselves to decide. And so the Republican caucus is going to have to decide that themselves. Again, I'm running for president. I'm not running for pundit. All I can say is that I know that it's not helpful for our country or for the Republican Party if people think that we're not able to lead. And part of the way we have to lead is we've got to reduce the size of the federal government. We've got to return the power to the states. I'm a huge believer in the 10th Amendment. The federal government is out of its lane in so many different ways. And I also know that 10 to 20% of every one of those jobs is some mind-numbing, soul-sucking work that even the best federal team member does not want to do because it doesn't add any value, and they know it. And so we have an opportunity, just like I did in the private sector, to take a cost out of it by making sure that the jobs have meaning and purpose. And a lot of people go into government because they want to make a difference, not because they want to just sit behind a desk and shuffle paper. And if we can reduce by 10 or 20%, 400,000 jobs out of the federal government, return that to the private sector, take other activity that agencies are doing, return that to the states. There's so much redundancy that happens at the federal level that could already be happening across the 50 states, and get more innovation. It's crazy. Even China, who we're competing with, when they had their explosive growth the last 10 years, the CCP, a communist party that we all think is in control, they delegated, in many cases, more power to the states in China than we do in the United States. We could actually learn something from them, which is it's entrepreneurship and innovation that is going to drive us forward. It's innovation. It's not federal regulation. There's never a one-size-fits-all regulation at the federal level. And so, again, getting the power back to the states, we get the economy going, that's going to help improve every American life. That's going to bring out the best of America. And we start focusing on what the people are doing and what the states are doing, instead of having turning Washington, D.C. into a nonstop reality TV show that some people, it's not helpful. We're in real competition around the globe. We've got to get government that functions again. And one way to do that is just move the power back to the states.